What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So this is the Google Pixel 4a 5G. And if you're like me, you might have missed this phone when it was first announced. Google's staggered release this year of their smartphone lineup meant that there was a ton of attention on the regular, smaller Pixel 4a earlier in the summer, a lot of eyes on the flagship Pixel 5 when it finally got released. But in between those two phones is this guy. The 4a 5G, in a lot of ways, is sort of a 4a XL. We didn't officially get an XL branded Google phone this year like in years past, but this I think is as close as it's going to get. However, this phone isn't even that far away from sort of being a Pixel 5 XL, since this phone shares a lot in common with the flagship phone too. The folks over at Team Pixel were super kind to have sent this phone over for me to check out this past weekend, and now that I've finally had a chance to use it and compare it to the rest of the lineup, I definitely have some thoughts. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all the similarities and differences between this phone, the regular 4a, and the flagship Pixel 5. I'll explain where I think this phone fits both in Google's lineup and the broader mid-range smartphone space now. And if you're curious, yes, I do think this phone is well worthy of your consideration if you haven't yet decided on a new device this year. Now, it may not be as obvious, but the first big thing that separates the 4a 5G is its big size. At 6.2 inches, it's of course larger than the fun-sized regular 4a, but it's actually bigger than the 6-inch flagship Pixel 5 as well. The fraction of an inch isn't drastic, but for those of you who maybe missed out on getting a big screen XL Google device this year, this is what we have instead. And honestly, it's a nice balance, all things considered. The important thing to realize is that just like the rest of the new Pixel devices, this phone lacks any notch or significant screen borders that previous Pixel phones might have had. You get a great screen-to-body ratio, a simple corner camera cutout, subtle chin, but minimal bezels all around. And that's what makes this 6.2-inch device still feel pretty manageable in the hand. Although, having the largest phone in the lineup be positioned in the middle price-wise is a little strange. At $349, the regular 4a comes in at a really friendly price. This 4a 5G is $150 more at $499, and the flagship Pixel 5 jumps up $200 more to $699. So in the one sense, paying a bit more, but not the most, to get the biggest screen might be nice. But at the same time, not having the flagship phone have an extra large option is out of the ordinary when you consider what Apple and Samsung do, for example. Of course, the big screen size and mid-tier price aren't the only things worth considering. You might be able to tell that the housing and body materials with this 4a 5G is identical to the standard Pixel 4a. It's the soft touch matte plastic, not the fancy recycled aluminum from the Pixel 5. But to be honest, I'm fine with this build. You can just barely tell the difference between the aluminum and the plastic in this case, and I think Google did a nice job with the plastic here anyway. The downside is that the lesser materials do mean less physical features. No wireless charging or reverse wireless charging, that's only on the flagship Pixel 5, and no water or dust rating either here with this phone. That too is reserved for the Pixel 5. Though I realize that some people may not even care about those features, so it's certainly going to depend on what you value. Two physical traits that are shared between the 4a 5G and the smaller 4a that are big positives are a headphone jack and the dual stereo speaker setup. On the smaller 4a and this 4a 5G, there's of course the one speaker down below by the USB-C port and an additional one in the earpiece. But rather than hide the secondary speaker underneath the front glass like on the flagship Pixel 5, the speaker grill here and on the smaller 4a is an actual slit that's uncovered with a physical speaker grill. And this leads to, in my opinion, just much better stereo sound than what we saw on the flagship Pixel 5, interestingly enough. So let's talk about the two biggest advantages you get in going with this 4A 5G, and those would be the internals and the camera setup. First off, with what's inside, the 4A 5G is powered by the Snapdragon 765G chipset, the same processor inside the flagship Pixel 5. The smaller Pixel 4a has the 730G inside. And I know that specs aren't everything, but collectively, you're now getting a bigger phone with the same processor at a cheaper price than the flagship, and that's pretty interesting. The difference is with the RAM. The 4a and 4a 5G get 6 gigs, while the flagship Pixel 5 has 8, and perhaps on some other Android devices, I might have argued the benefit of having a little more RAM. But in this case, I think its value is diminished ever so slightly because of the particularly good Android experience you know you're going to get on these phones. One of the biggest reasons people still prefer these Pixel devices over other Android devices is the software experience Google offers. It's simple, it's smooth, it's well optimized, and you're guaranteed updates for years to come. And you're the first to get them too. There is one additional software caveat you might want to consider though. This Pixel 4a 5G and the flagship Pixel 5 technically came out a few months after the original 4a. That means they shipped with Android 11, while the original 4a shipped with Android 10, and if you follow Google's own sort of software update rules, that means this 4a 5G and the flagship Pixel 5 should get the Android 14 update, while the original 4a may stop at Android 13. If that's something that's important to you, that's one more advantage you have in going with this phone or the flagship. The other big thing worth considering, like I mentioned, is the camera setup. And I'll keep this simple. It's the same as the flagship Pixel 5. You get the dual lens 12.2 megapixel main shooter and the new 16 megapixel ultra wide angle. Now, yes, the main lens on the original smaller 4a is the same 12.2 megapixel camera too, but it lacks the ultra wide and doesn't have the slight bump up in processor for image processing either. And the decision to throw on the secondary lens here surprised me a little bit. It's just one more thing that brings this 4a 5G closer to the flagship rather than the budget 4a. On the other hand, this 4a 5G does lack one flagship feature in particular you might value. While I already explained that the big screen is great, I didn't yet mention the screen specs. It's the same 2340 by 1080 resolution as the Pixel 5, and even the regular Pixel 4a as well. They all have OLED HDR screens and they look great. No matter what phone you choose, the viewing experience is fantastic, though maybe a little bit better on a big screen like this one. But the flagship Pixel 5's display supports a 90 Hz refresh rate, something you don't get on either of the 4As. And this makes sense. A high refresh rate screen, at least in 2020, is still a higher end addition. Now, if you've yet to experience a high refresh rate display, you may not care, which is fine. And 90 Hz is still not as good and responsive as 120 Hz like you might find on the S20 FE. But all in all, it is something this 4A 5G misses out on, and something you may consider in jumping up to the Pixel 5. Covering this Pixel 4a's display also is Gorilla Glass 3. The flagship Pixel 5 gets protected by Gorilla Glass 6, and I know each iteration of Gorilla Glass is a little different and has strengths in different areas, but we are talking about a few generations difference here. And either way you look at it, I'd probably rather be protected by what's on the Pixel 5 instead. Perhaps the most interesting tidbit I found with this 4A 5G is that while the sheer size of this phone is the largest out of the lineup, it doesn't have the biggest battery inside. The 4A 5G is powered by a 3885 milliamp battery inside, while the flagship Pixel 5 has a 4080 milliamp battery. Now that difference isn't so drastic. Both these phones are much further ahead of the 3140 milliamp battery inside the smaller 4A, but it is still a difference nonetheless, though fortunately I personally haven't seen any drastic discrepancies in screen on time or longevity. The Pixel 5's 90 Hz display, after all, does require a bit more juice, which even things out a bit, and Honestly, all three phones, even the smaller Pixel 4a, have phenomenal battery life, so no real worries there. I know I've sort of been jumping around all over the place, but let me try and sum up everything I can and make it as clear as possible. This Pixel 4a 5G is awesome. It's the biggest phone in the lineup this year by a little bit, but not so big that it's uncomfortable. It packs the same processor and same camera setup as the flagship Pixel 5. It misses out on the 90Hz display and the more premium build and physical features like wireless charging, though depending on what you value, those might be easily dismissible. And what you're left with is basically a phone that is as good as the $700 flagship Pixel 5, just $500 instead. From the size to the specs to the camera and the price, those are just some of the reasons you should consider this phone in general, but perhaps even instead of the Pixel 5. In my opinion, this sort of forgotten about phone might have ended up being the best Pixel device in the lineup this year. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on Google's Pixel 4a 5G. What do you guys think about this phone? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.